Hey guys, it's Dorr with Tactical Hyve. In today's video, we're going to be talking about sniper bags, recce bags, how to carry that type of equipment, a little of the how and why I did it in my last job. Up next. All right, guys, before we get to the content, if you're looking for great training tools, go ahead and check out Laser Ammo. All right, these guys have everything from reactive laser targets, recoil-enabled pistols, a smokeless range that I got to try, and a whole lot more. So go ahead and check them out in the description below. All right, guys, so we're back, and it's all about that recce sniper mission, the bag, and how we set them up. So the first thing you got to do is pick which bag you're going to go with. And there's a lot of factors that go into play of which bag you're going to get away with taking out into the field. But obviously the biggest one is going to be duration. Because the longer you're out there, the longer you're going to have to keep yourself alive. So now we have volume as far as water, which is going to be the biggest one, food, and then camping gear. And then once you get into camping gear, like what's the environment? How hot is it? How cold is it? How dry? How much, is there rain? Are we going to have to cross rivers? All this stuff comes into play. And, every environment is different. It would take us way too long to go over it all. So we're going to go ahead and just skip that part. And we're going to get to the nuts and the bolts of the field craft and actually putting rounds on target and what we need to do so. So, for me personally, when I'm out in the field, I like to be able to take weight off whenever I can. So I'm going to run a chest rig. This is just one of the ones I used. It's set up for 8 5.56 mags, a single radio, and then I could put my pistol up in here. It's often what I used it for, or I could run it on my belt, just depends on the op. You can put your pistol mags on this thing. Really a great piece of kit. It unzips. I've talked about it in previous videos, but really the most important thing is I can take it off. And when you're out in the field for long periods of time, being able to take a break, being able to take this off, set it next to you with your rifle, you can grab and go at a moment's notice. Huge, huge. If I'm gonna wear plates in that configuration, I'm gonna go with a slick plate carrier. I might even attach my comms to this just so I have them with me at all times. But running a plate carrier with the chest rig over the top of it, I'm a big fan of for this type of stuff. Obviously, you can just go and buy water, back on deployments, they've just had pallets and pallets and pallets of bottled water. And that's what we brought. I never used canteens or anything like that, generally speaking. And they have collapsible, reusable bladders, which are awesome for saving room. And they're refillable easily if you're in an environment where you can do so. Just something to think about. All right, guys, so got this little bag. It's made by Camelback. You've seen it before. I just love the heck out of it. I can never remember the name of it, but in the comments, if you know what it is, go ahead and throw it in there because you guys seem to know quite a bit of stuff, and thank you for the comments. I learned a lot. This is the Camelback Maximum Gear. It's got the main compartment, it's got a bladder compartment, as well as this admin compartment, and most importantly, it has the helmet compartment, because you are going to be bringing a helmet with you, because that's what you put your nods on, and that's how you wear your nods, and you're going to have nods at night. So having an awesome, purpose-built pouch for, a bump or an armored helmet, it's really awesome. And this is probably my favorite part of the bag. And then if, I've got too much stuff, I go ahead and step it up to this Eberstock bag. This is a purpose-built sniper or hunter, depending on who you talk to. Maybe it's one and the same. I know Bambi's not a big fan of either. Anyway, this thing's purpose-built to carry a rifle. So if I was going to run like a bolt-action rifle, that I wasn't going to carry as my primary weapon because those things aren't very good up close, you go ahead and just slide it right down in here. The buttstock goes down to this end. The barrel pops out of the top. And then you can also go a step further and you can go ahead and put this over the top of your muzzle. And then this wraps around your optics to keep them safe, a little bit more bump shock proof. And you can go ahead and just slide all of this into the bag. So, if need be, I would do that. Obviously, if I was running a recce rifle like this, I would not bother. This would just be my primary that I carried. I might even carry this in conjunction with a larger, 300 Win Mag, something like that as well. Just depends on the circumstances, what we're trying to accomplish. So if I'm only going out for a short period of time and I'm going to use, a primary semi-automatic rifle as my primary for all things, I'm not going to need to worry about carrying too much stuff. My camping, my sustenance, my warmies, all that stuff, not really a factor. And I could pretty much get away with that right where we are. So we're going to go ahead and just live in the now. So again, this bag, it does have several different compartments. It's a little bit big for what I need. I can put this very small pocket right here, batteries, maybe writing utensils. Then up here at the top, sensitive items, note-taking material, things like, binoculars, laser rangefinder. This stuff can go up in here. It's easy to get to. I know right where it is. I know I'm going to need it, and I might need it at a moment's notice. So that's where I'm going to put this kind of stuff. I could also put it on my second line gear, but if second line gear is more for immediate, need it right now kind of things, like ammunition, a little bit of water, grenades, your radio, things like that. This stuff, it's a little bit more purpose behind it. I'm going to be set up. It's going to be a little bit more deliberate, but I don't want to go digging through my bag, making a lot of extra noise and excess movement to do so. So I'm going to put items like that in a pocket, just like so. I've got landscaping material. If you're going to be out in the wilderness, you're going to need to find hiding spots. Sometimes you need to alter the environment, the bushes, the trees, the grass, etc. So I've got an E-tool and a tree saw, and I would go ahead and find a good spot kind of in the middle of the bag, because this is going to be more of a layup point where I feel like I'm safe enough to dig through my bag. So I'll go ahead and find a compartment spot in here, just like so. Yeah, and inside of this bag, there's a lot of really awesome compartments that you can put stuff. So you just go ahead. It also has MOLLE on the inside, which I thought was a pretty cool touch. Not that I'm going to use it, but if you're into that, you can make this thing even more and more modular. These pop off. You can get down both sides of the bag, open it up, and really get an idea of what you're doing. I like to put the heavy stuff, down at the bottom. That way it's not sloshing around. Something else that's going to go in the bag, is additional camouflage material. Maybe I would wear this the entire time. This is a ghillie shawl, or maybe I wouldn't. If I don't feel like I needed to, I definitely wouldn't, because it's just more stuff that I'm wearing. It's going to make me hotter, etc. More things to get snagged on. So I'll go ahead and put this in here as well. Different camouflage items will also be cami netting. If I wasn't going to wear a cami paint, because unless there's actually somebody dangerous looking for me, I'm not going to wear cami paint. But you can go ahead and just throw these on as needed if you're trying to be a little bit sneakier, and they work pretty well. I definitely wouldn't walk around like this all the time, but having this, close by, maybe it's in the backpack, maybe it isn't, just depends on the circumstances. I could run with this. Also, if it's, depending on how hot it is, I could run one of these. But I'm telling you, if it's like super hot, I'm going to wear face paint or the netting. I hate wearing balaclavas, masks of any kind if I'm sweating, but that's just me. So I can get all this stuff in here. If I was going to have a lot of stuff in here, I would go ahead and grab my first of however many I need compression bags. And I go ahead, just take all my camouflage stuff, maybe I wear my gloves the entire time. Maybe I didn't feel like wearing gloves that were this thick the entire time. Maybe I had a lighter pair, or for whatever reason, I'm not going to wear gloves for now. I could go ahead, take, one of these pairs or both if I needed to, stick them in here as well. Because it's technically clothing, it's technically purpose built for the mission. And so I'm going to have this in a compression bag. Another trick I picked up along the way is, sometimes in this type of environment, this type of mission set, you need to get low to the ground, you need to stay on the ground, which requires you to crawl for long periods of time. And these are paintball elbow pads. Paintball elbow pads. And I could take off this blouse, wear just a t-shirt if I needed to or wanted to. I could put these on underneath The blouse, generally speaking, you could probably pull these on over the top if you really needed to. I wouldn't recommend it, but man, for crawling around on the ground, I've already got my knee pads in on my standard cry pants that I normally wear, and then throwing these on makes all the difference in the world. I mean, you're just smoother, you're way more comfortable, you can stay down there for much longer. I highly recommend, if you have actual sniper stocking, you know, in your mission set, in your future, picking up a pair of these. You can get them online. They come in all types of different patterns, and they do come, you know, obviously in camo like these. These ones are made by, I think, Planet Eclipse, if that helps. You know, there's a lot of different brands out there. And again, if this, you know, is something that I was going to wear, something that's mission enhancing, but I don't want to wear all the time, boom, right into this compression bag it's going to go. Then I'm going to go ahead, compress this down, do what I need to do with it to make it as small and leave as much extra room for other stuff as possible. Compress it down, roll it up, and get it down into the bag, just like so. A big fan of having the CamelBak, you know, is on your person. I consider the hydration, your primary hydration method, to be kind of second line gear. So I have them on the back of my plate carriers. If I'm not wearing a plate carrier, I'll run a standalone just like so. Or I could run this over the top of a standalone plate carrier, which is something I did quite a bit early on in my career. But I would have this on, you know, take little sips, keep yourself hydrated. And then again, however long you're out there is however many bottles of water you're going to grab off of that pallet or from 7-Eleven or whatever your situation is. You know, just don't run out of water, and have a plan to get resupplied before you run out. I've run out of water before and it sucks. So definitely going to be a high priority. So I'll go ahead, you know, put these in here. This one's not full yet, but you know, that's okay. Another big one will be hide material. You know, cami netting, screen, ways to attach things, as far as zip ties and, you know, rubber bands and hydrogel, epoxy, anything like that that you're going to use to alter your environment, get things to stick and stay where they need to be. That needs to be in its own compression bag. So I would bring, you know, grab another compression bag, put as much cami netting into it as I needed to, as much screen into it as I needed to, and then along with all the things I use to attach, you know, I would put those in a Ziploc bag or something, and I'd stick those in the compression bag as well. And that would go into the bag, same as everything else. Then, you know, you just kind of get down to all the little accoutrements. So, you know, this over here is more so second line gear. If I was going to be running cami paint, I would, you know, obviously you got to bring extra because it wears off. So I would go ahead and just, you know, find a pocket. It's easy to access, very accessible. Maybe I would even keep a little bit of the cami paint on my person, second line, first line gear, just so I could do little touch-ups as needed. You know, it all just depends on the mission. You know, ammunition, first aid, equipment, secondary weapon system, that's all secondary. You know, you have your comms headsets, push-to-talks, things like that you're gonna run through your kit. You know, I need that stuff. I need it immediately. I need it to stay alive. I need it to maintain situational awareness and communication with whoever I'm with. So that stuff really is not going in the bag. Other things that would go in this bag, like if I was going to run a bolt gun, you know, in the pocket, would be extra ammunition, a logbook, you know, any information I wanted to have about that weapon, you know, all the scope information, the dope as we call it, if I'm running that kind of a weapon system, you know, stuff like that. Again, I would put in this bag, and I would use this bag as kind of, you know, my shooting station. Everything I needed to accomplish those long range shots, I would just run right out of this bag. It's almost like a suitcase, you know, like you work downtown somewhere, you're wearing a suit and tie or a dress or whatever it is you wear. You've got that suitcase with your laptop, whatever else in it. That's how I treat this thing, man. It is a suitcase. And then if need be, I will keep myself alive as well with my food, my water, my warmies, etc. And, you know, after that, And that's pretty much what it's for, guys. You know, here, we talked about this before. This is a tree stand. You know, there are trees out here. You can use it to rest your rifle on. You know, just little stuff like this you might think you need. Just find a place for it. I don't need this super fast, so it can be buried, you know, into the bag fairly well, though it does have a sharp point on it. So putting something on here to cork it, so to speak, even if it's just some tape, definitely a good idea. You don't want to have sharp objects floating around in your bag. You can stab yourself in the hand in the dark. You can poke a hole through the side of your bag, and that just leads to more and more problems, like trying to get a new one. All right, guys, so this is, you know, once you get it all kind of put together, figure out what works for you. You know, I go ahead, I'll have my first line, second line, and my third line. If I'm out here in this environment for not that long, I can go ahead and just run my smaller bag on here. It just has the essentials, maybe 24 hours worth of water and food, which, you know, isn't much. Water is going to outweigh and outspace food by a lot, but it's just something you got to take into account. I'm out here with just one particular primary weapon system. It's going to get me by. And I have, you know, second line gear with mags on there. If I needed to, I could put more ammunition in the backpack if I felt like I needed to. I'm just running it on a 2-point modified sling, you know, meant for comfort, for long duration. Nothing too crazy about it. Went ahead and decided just to put my pistol in mag pouch just right here. It's high up off my body. Don't have anything on my waist, which I really like when I'm hiking around with lots of way too much stuff on. So I went ahead and went with that. I can put my secondary mags on here. These extensions are actually for larger magazines for different type of pistol. I don't need those right now, but that's just something I used well, second to last deployment. Just like so. I've got internal pouches here for my nav equipment or things that I might need, like trauma shears. Just like so. Comms, you know, I'm not really worried about right now, but that's where they go. And I have my headset on if need be. But again, you know, just being able to get this bag off. Third line gear. So got my helmet on here. If I was really worried about, you know, being sneaky, I could put a piece of cami netting over here. This strap system holds it in very secure. Night vision is going to be tucked away and protected. In this specific instance, I might go with putting the nods, you know, in here with the helmet as well. But if I was going to be wearing, say, an armored helmet the entire time I was out in the field, I was just going to grin and bear it and do it for however long I was out there, I would definitely have my nods on my second line. Because, you know, having those is a huge advantage. It's definitely worth, you know, having on your person, same as ammunition or a blowout kit, medical kit, tourniquet, things like that. So, rigged up in the bag, you know, I have the helmet. Go ahead and unclip it, unsecure it, take it out. There were times where guys would put their nods in like a Crown Royal bag and like girth hitch the line through the inside of the helmet and just keep it all together in one, you know, one shebang, pull it out, it's there. You know, that could work. Probably wouldn't do it with a bump helmet with all the holes and things in it, but maybe an armored helmet. In the top small compartment, just like we talked about, got cami paint for touch-up, and I've got my little pair of binos and a laser rangefinder. You know, mission-enhancing stuff that I don't need immediately. If I needed it, you know, faster, I'd probably find a better place to put it on my person. I went ahead and put on the bladder pouch over the top of the plate carrier like we talked about. I keep it just tucked in here on my right side. You know, we could go either way with it. I just, for whatever reason, I have it on the right. You could put your bladder, though. They have bladder pouches for these bags, both bags you can do that with. I just like keeping that bladder pouch on my person. Again, it's second line. It's something I need to keep alive. And if I had to jettison this backpack in an emergency, I'm going to have, you know, some water with me, and that's, you know, better than nothing. Again, you know, living in a water bottle world, whether you're here in the States shopping at 7-Eleven or you're somewhere where there's just pallets of this stuff laying around. So you'd bring as many of these as I needed to. And I've got my stuff sack with, you know, my ghillie, shawl, my elbow pads, my gloves, You know, maybe I'd put some warmies in here if need be, things like that. I'd keep these separated. And then after that, guys, it really boils down to what type of hide material are you bringing? What type of landscaping tools are you bringing? Got some landscaping tools in this bottom pocket. I could put other ones in there as well, but you know, just for the sake of the video, that's good enough. Everything's compartmentalized. Obviously there's some stuff, you know, that I don't have. It would take forever to go over everything, but you know, extra batteries are great, power bars, you know, any little creature comforts you want. You know, some guys always had that particular type of snack that they would look forward to, you know, little things like that. Just have an easy pocket for it. And then you want to memorize where everything is in these bags, because time is of the essence, and you want to cut down on anything that's going to cause any noise or motion, because if you are being sought after, you are being hunted, if that is, you know, something that you need to be worrisome of, aware of, whatever you want to call it, less is more. You know, being perfectly still, perfectly quiet is always the right answer. So, you know, just having a plan, knowing where everything is, being organized, is going to really make the difference. And it all comes down to training, understanding your equipment, and taking the time to figure out what works for you and what doesn't. So again, you know, these are just two different bags. You know, this is like a small bag and really a medium bag. Obviously, you guys have all seen those massive Bergens that guys use. Haven't had to use one of those in quite a while. I've been able to, you know, get resupplied fairly regularly in my last job, but we did have them. And again, thanks to the people in the comments, Bergens are actually from Norway. You know, I'd only heard the Brits talk about them, and we got that Bergen term from them. But apparently, the Norwegians came up with the massive bag that you could fit a person in. Anyway, I just thought that was pretty cool. I love reading the comments, you know, learning things. All right, guys. So I hope this helps. You know, this is just a quick down and dirty of, you know, a medium bag that I'm going to put, you know, a larger weapon system in with a different type of ammo, etc. And then I can also haul more hide material, etc. in a larger bag. But if I can get away with it, you know, I'm always going to carry as little as possible because it makes me faster and lighter. So this is the small configuration. I would use this in conjunction with just one primary weapon system. And I'm able to get, you know, the bare essentials of what I need in this bag. And everything is organized just like we talked about. So, you know, when you're setting up your backpack for whatever, you know, mission or environment you're going into, I hope these little tips and tricks helped. Anyway, this is Dorr, Tactical Hyve. Hope you liked the video. I'll catch you next time. Out.